How Michael Gove is avoiding getting it in the neck is just as extraordinary to me. People seem to have given up on government. You know, what the is it there for? Our customers just hate plastic with a passion. Of all the letters and emails and Facebook comments, it is definitely the #1 subject. And there is so much confusion around plastics and recycling and compostable and which things actually are recycled. It is very hard for anyone, be they a citizen consuming the food or a farmer growing it or a supermarket, it's very hard for anyone to do the right thing without really good information about, what are more sustainable plastics. I would argue very, very strongly that at the moment, with reference to packaging, to curbside collection, to recycling, to composting, to how we go with all that, we have a real failure of government. And it is, I stand here as someone trying to run a business in a responsible way, very, very frustrated by that. So why do we use plastic in the first place? Well, we try to use as little as possible, and indeed we have done a little independent analysis which shows that we do use roughly 1/4 as much plastic as a supermarket. Some of it is just stupid. I mean, why put courgettes in a plastic bag that comes from our local supermarket? They really don't need to be in plastic. This is how we deliver most of our boxes, and actually in this one, the only thing in plastic is the Swiss chard, and we could let it get a little bit bigger and cut it and bunch it. And our customers would all say that that's what they loved, but when it arrived at their doorstep, it would be wilted. A lot of it would be thrown away, and they would complain. I mean, we've gone to all the effort, burnt the diesel, ploughed the fields, sowed it, hoed it, harvested it, transported it to someone's doorstep for them to throw half of it away because it's wilted. That does not make environmental sense. It reduces plastic usage, but it does nothing to address what I still consider to be unquestionably the #1 environmental issue, which is climate change. So whatever packaging solutions we adopt, we must be very careful that by moving away from plastic, we don't actually increase the overall carbon footprint, because paper kind of counterintuitively normally does have a larger carbon footprint, something that most people are reluctant to believe, but believe me, it is true. We've spent probably almost 6 months, had someone working on trying to come up with the right solution, and we have decided that by 2020 we will move entirely to compostable plastics. And when I say compostable, I do mean that it will break down to carbon dioxide and water in a home composting situation within 12 weeks. So it is properly compostable. It's not degradable. You should be very, very wary of any plastic that claims to be degradable. And many companies just don't have the resources to research, what is good packaging and what's bad packaging, and as a result they are conned into buying things like oxydegradable plastics, which all that means, degradable, that must be wonderful, mustn't it? All it does, it just breaks down into little bits, and so what is sold as an environmental solution is the very worst stuff that's contributing to the environmental problem in the oceans, the kind of microplastics. They're a complete con. I've been conned. It cost me £60,000. I bought the bloody things and I had to send them all to landfill, so despite all the study that we put into what are the best packaging solutions, it is far from obvious what the answer is. In fact, there is no good answer, largely because of a complete lack of leadership, in that of all the local authorities that we have in this country, they all have different curbside collection policies. So how can we design our packaging to have the minimum environmental impact if there's absolutely no kind of consistency in what happens to it at the end? And I gave a talk to the Environment Agency 12 years ago now, and I was asked if there was one thing you could do to reduce the environmental impact, what would it be? And I said to have a unified curbside collection. And actually I got a standing ovation. It's like everyone in the room knew it was the right thing to do. That was 12 years ago. Why, Michael Gove, are we 12 years later still doing the same bloody thing? I mean, why can't the government pull their finger out and actually, deliver some leadership? The very least you could do would be to ban oxydegradable plastics. And if you get beyond that, then please, 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 can we have a unified curbside collection? There's a tremendous will of citizens, cooks, indeed a lot of producers to do the right thing environmentally, but it's very difficult to do the right thing without good information and without some leadership from government.